We often find ourselves in a world where we have to look up a conversion from one unit measure to another. You want to convert from, say, degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit, or number of tablespoons to numbers of cups. Google's got this fantastic ability to do automatic conversions combined with the ability to do calculations. A lot of people don't know this, but you can go to Google and just do basic calculations very, very easily. I'm going to show you how to do that in this lesson. The general pattern for doing units conversions is this one you see right here. From units to units, you use the pattern number units in units. What I mean by that is something very simple. So here we see a very simple conversion. I can go to Google and type 212F in C. Let me show you real quick. If I go to Google and I type 212F in C, you'll get the conversion from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So in this case, the boiling point of water in Fahrenheit is exactly 100 degrees Celsius. That's pretty straightforward. Let's try another one. 400 yards in miles. I don't know about you, but I can't do that in my head easily. So I can come to here and type 400 yards in miles. And it will show me the conversion instantly. You're getting the idea. I use a number, like 400. I use the unit measure name, like yards, inches, centimeters, whatever. The word in, and then the other unit, the destination unit, that is what you want it to be converted into. So for example, here, 32 C and F. You know what that's going to be. That's going to be 0. Rather, it's not going to be 0. It's going to be a rather warm temperature. In fact, let's try it. This is why you want to do this kind of thing. 32 C in F is going to be 89 degrees Fahrenheit. A little warm. You see why this is handy? If you travel to Europe, you have a European cookbook, for example. Now you can do the conversions from one unit measure to another. What other kinds of measures could we do? We can do 23 bushels in quarts. I have no idea how much a bushel is, but if I do this conversion, it will tell me. So let's give it a shot. 23 bushels in quarts. In that case, 856 quarts. A bushel is fairly big. If you want to get an exact idea of that, I would say 1 bushel in quarts. And that will tell me 1 bushel, that is the traditional measure of volume, is 37 quarts. This is a fantastic ability. I can convert units I know to units I don't really understand. Angstroms are a measure of very, very small units, usually used for microscopes or electron microscopy. You measure things in angstroms when you're trying to talk about silicon chips. So 1 inch in angstrom, it's a quarter of 254 million angstroms is 1 inch. So you can see it's a very, very tiny measure. So now you see the idea. You can do all kinds of stuff. For example, I swim 500 yards. I want to see what that is in miles, and I can see what that is immediately. Now, conversions can also be useful for things other than purely scientific and mathematical things. You've probably read the book 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. What does that title refer to? 20 leagues in miles. And you can see that the 20,000 leagues in miles is 69,000 miles. That's a long way. That's not the depth to which the submarine goes in that book. It's actually distance measure that it travels in the course of the novel. We can also do somewhat more sophisticated, or at least cosmopolitan kinds of conversions. I can ask questions like, what's 280 euros in US dollars? And I will get the financial conversions of the moment. So you can see here, there are the normal disclaimers about you shouldn't use this for automatic updates for monetary transactions, but it gives you a pretty close to real-time sense of what the conversion rate is. So right now, if you want to get just a simple conversion rate, 1 euro in USD, and we can see it's 1.25 US dollars. You get a great sense for that. So that's the cosmopolitan world traveler kind of conversion. What if you want to do something more home kind of a conversion? So I can imagine wanting to do an upscaling of the chocolate chip cookie recipe that requires, say, 5 tablespoons of sugar, but I need how many cups if I'm going to multiply that by, say, a factor of 4. So I want 20 tablespoons in cups. So rather than counting out 20 tablespoons, I know I can just get 1¼ cups of sugar and do the conversion very quickly on my laptop sitting in the kitchen. We can ask a lot of other questions. As we saw in the last lesson, population of Japan is one of those questions we can ask very, very easily. One of the really nice features here is that you can then click through this graph, which shows that it's now 127 million roughly. But if we click through here, what we'll do is end up on a data exploration page. In essence, what we've done is gone from looking at just the raw data, just the single number, and now I can start to look at things like the transition, the change in Japan population over time since the 1960s. There's other kinds of things we can do. We can, for example, answer simple calculator questions like 1 plus 2, and we get simple calculations like that. That's a fantastic thing when you're doing simple additions or subtractions and you're trying to do a checkbook or something very quickly. You happen to have it there. I can very quickly do complex calculations like 23 divided by 45 times 121. I can do those simple calculations there. There's a lot of functionality built in here. A simple one might be 12% of 124, which computes it for you very, very quickly. So you see the idea. There's a Google Calculator built in, and there's a bunch of capability here, including just truly some fun things. So here's what we call an Easter egg. The number of horns on a unicorn is unsurprisingly 1. But what's really fun about this Easter egg is I can now start to add additional expressive values like the loneliest number. And I discovered that the number of horns on a unicorn and the loneliest number is 2. Who knew? In any event, there's a lot of capability here that you might not have known about. What I want to give you the sense for in this lesson is that the Google Calculator has a wide range of things it can do. On the other hand, there are a lot of very, very simple calculations you can do to, for example, look at functions like x squared, or you can do conversions like the number of tablespoons you need for that chocolate chip cookie recipe. Multiply that cookie recipe by 4, and you don't want to add 25 tablespoons, but maybe 1½ cups. You can get those conversions very, very simply, and this is a great way to do it.